Welcome to today's webinar entitled Using NBC Learn to Build Relevance and Rigor in the Classroom. We're really excited all of you were able to join us today on what might be a rainy day where you are. I'm not sure what the weather is across the state. Here in central Indiana, we have a storm that's just about done, so I'm thankful that my power probably won't go out. I was a little worried for a few minutes. So, but welcome to all of you today. In just a few minutes, Cindy Harrison from NBC Learn will be sharing all sorts of great information with us, but I just want to do a few housekeeping things to get us started. If you are hearing me, that means that you successfully connected to the audio, which is super great. I have everybody muted. I muted everybody as they entered the call. Please leave your line muted. That will prevent background noise that can be distracting throughout the call. We will have the chat window open, as you see now over on the right side of your screen. Please share thoughts and questions, ideas, things that you are already doing in your classroom in that box. Don't only use it, don't only think of it as a question, a place to ask questions, but please share what you're doing or what your thoughts are on integrating these wonderful resources into your classroom. Make sure, like I said a little bit earlier, make sure when you use that chat box that you select everyone from the Send To drop-down. That will allow everyone to be able to see your messages and not just me. A little bit later, I'll be turning the presentation over to Cindy, and at that time, you'll probably, again, have to change that Send To setting to everyone. And while I'm doing this little introduction, if you haven't introduced yourself already, please do so. Let us know where you're connecting from and also how familiar you are with the NBC Learn resources. This will help Cindy to kind of direct what she's sharing to be most useful to you all. Just a few things coming from our office. I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Mary Carnahan, and I am the e-learning resource specialist with the Office of E-Learning at the Department of Education. And I get to set up and host these webinars, so I'm happy to be with you all today. Just a couple of upcoming professional development opportunities from our office. We do have 2 webinars coming up next week. On Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the Speak Up survey, which is a great way to it's a free survey that's already set up for you, and that is a survey that can be sent out for, it's used with students, teachers, administrators, community members, parents, to just gauge where people think you are in utilizing technology and where they think that you should be. And it just is it's a great way to work on the direction that you're going with your technology usage. Again, free. So if you're looking at participating in the Speak Up survey or don't know anything about it, feel free to join us next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have 2 middle school science teachers sharing augmented reality and how you can use that, not just in the science classroom, but in all subject areas. So that should be a pretty fun topic to talk about next week. Next week, we also have our fall book club starting. It's a really quick turnover from our summer book club. We started that one later to coincide the ending with Digital Citizenship Week. So this one is, like I said, a quick turnover, but we're going to be starting next Monday reading Kids Deserve It, Pushing Boundaries and Challenging Conventional Thinking by Todd Neslony and Adam Welcome. That'll be a 10-week book club that will be worth 20 PGP points. So if you are interested in a great book discussion with fellow Indiana educators that's online, so you can do it whenever it's convenient for you, and getting some PGP points to save for your next license renewal, we'd love to have you join us. And information for all of this is available on our webpage. Just click on the professional development link. And then Twitter, we like to use Twitter. We like to connect people via Twitter. So be using the INELearn hashtag daily as you're using Twitter to ask questions of your fellow educators, to share ideas. But then also Thursday nights we have Twitter chats at 9 p.m. Eastern. And this week's topic should be fun. It's a guest takeover with IU pre-service teachers. So you can join that to answer questions of theirs, share ideas of things that you're doing in your classroom that you think would be great for them to do, but also getting some ideas from them. So that'll be a fun conversation to have on Thursday night. So that is what we have coming up from our office. And now I am going to pass things on to Cindy Harrison. Cindy is an old friend of ours. Cindy has been doing webinars with us for a few years now, coming to Indiana to speak at Summer of e-Learning conferences. She'll be at ICE here in a couple of weeks. I'm sure she might mention that. So we're really happy to have her on here. We've had this great relationship with NBC Learn now for 3 years, Cindy. It's hard to remember.
I think it's even longer because I've been, well, I know it is. I've been with NBC Learn for over 3.5 years now, and I want to say you've had it a year or two prior to that. So y'all are a leader in using NBC Learn.
Yeah, time flies. It's been a great resource. This is a resource that is free to all Indiana public educators and students, and that's what really, I mean, one big takeaway that you need to take from this. For public school educators and students, it is a free resource. We have the state, the Department of Education has paid the subscription fee for this, so we want y'all to know about it. We want y'all to find great ways to use it with your students and in your classrooms. And with that, I am going to work some magic on my end and make Cindy the presenter.
Great. Thank you so much, Mary. While we're busy changing over here to share my screen, I'll briefly introduce myself. As Mary mentioned, I have been with NBC Learn, and I have come to Indiana multiple times at so many of the Summer of e-Learning conferences, as well as the Rock Stars of Curation. I've been there, and as Mary also mentioned, I will be at ICE in 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to being there. And I will also be joined by one of my colleagues, so it's exciting to have two of us there in Indiana. And so I've noticed through several of you have had NBC Learn for a while. So down in Evansville, yes, we're so appreciative of that. Evansville is such a great user. But some of you have also are just kind of want to reacquaint yourself, and some of you didn't put anything in because you're completely new to it. So I will try to cover all of my bases here to get all of you the information that you want and need. And please contact, feel free to contact Mary. She can forward the information to me. I can also send out my email address if you have any specific questions for me. I will do that as well. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. And one of the platforms, or the platform that you can use to access NBC Learn is to go to indiana.nbclearn.com. That is a jump-off page to our standalone product. You might notice that I have 2 additional tabs open at the top of my page for Canvas and Blackboard. And I will go to those at the end because we do integrate with the learning management systems. In addition to Canvas and Blackboard, we're also in Schoology and in It's Learning. And so I wanted to show you that at the end, how you can embed if you are using any of those specific learning management systems in your school or your district. So I will get to those later. So what you'll see, thank you, Mary, for putting the website out. And so it is indiana.nbclearn.com, and you can see here just a little bit around this. Our landing page here is we can click to access, but we also have instructions to create your free account. Once we get into the collection, you will have access to all 19,000 plus videos that we have within our collection, but I will show you once we're in there to go ahead and create your account. We highlight various features here. We have our Twitter feed. We love to take part in so many of the Twitter chats that y'all have on Thursday evenings. I've been a part of that, and so many wonderful educators have been a part of our NBC Learn Twitter chats as well. So it's a great way to connect with educators. So just seconding what Mary has just said. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to access, and that's going to take me, as I mentioned, to our standalone. So you'll see that it's NBC Learn K-12 in the upper left-hand corner, but more importantly, you will see Welcome Indiana Department of Education in the upper right-hand corner. Now, at this particular point, you do, as I mentioned, have access to all 19,000 plus videos. However, I recommend that you go ahead and register now for your own account, because you have increased functionality, including the ability to make playlists, and I will be discussing that during the course of this session. So take a moment to go ahead and register. As Mary mentioned, everyone, really it's all educators, not just public but private as well, and parochial schools have access. And you will see that the districts are on the far left. Now, if some of you are using iPads, the indentation isn't as noticeable as it is here on my computer. So just kind of scroll down and find your district, and then find your specific school. So you have all of that information that you can sign in. So while you're all registering now or signing in to your own account, if you have already done that, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to sign into my account, and let's see, there we go. Oh, did I not sign in correctly? That's odd. Cindy. Okay, this is very odd for me to be able to do that. So I'm going to just go ahead and just do it without the account. I'm hoping all of you will go ahead and continue on with yours. And I'm going to just go ahead and go without the account, so you can see it is not signing in for me. So I am going to go ahead and give a brief overview of the home page. I'm not going to talk about the full every single thing on here, because I could talk for hours, and I know that after school you've already taught. I'm actually a former educator. I taught U.S. history and used NBC Learn in my own classroom. And so I know it's a long day to come to these after school. So you can see we have a highlighted, what we call our carousel, which highlights various resources. Below that, you can follow us on the various social media. We have a welcome. But where it's most important that I want to show you is that we have NBC Learn in the classroom. And this is where teachers have the ability to see how other teachers are using NBC Learn. And so, for example, you know, he's an economics teacher, and he shares specifically how he's using NBC Learn in his economics classroom, and he also teaches world history. But we have many, many more. You can click on the K-12, and you can go through here. We actually have Indiana very well covered. We have an English teacher. Here she is, 7th grade English teacher. And as much as I come to Indiana, I should be able to pronounce her county. I don't know if it's Vigo or Vigo County down in the southwestern part of Indiana. I do know where it is. And how she uses it for her English class with our grammar collection, but then she also builds context to what her students are reading. You know, having that interview with the Navajo code talker, you have that. We also have it where you can find additional ones. So she's a health teacher, but again, I'm going back through here. I'm going to skip down. We also, as I mentioned, have Indiana very well covered. We have a 5th and 6th grade science teacher from Evansville here, And we also have John Carl. I know that there's an Evansville teacher on this particular session, and I noticed that he is the Teacher of the Week down in Evansville. He is one of our first subscriber spotlights, actually. He put a video together for the Indiana Department of Education to share how he was using it. He was one of the pioneers in Indiana utilizing NBC Learn with his students. And his students did a history detective lesson where they were the detectives learning more about the Great Depression and found interviews of the migrant mother from the 1970s reflecting back on that. So there's just so many wonderful ways in which to find out how to use NBC Learn in your classroom, just going through the NBC Learn in the classroom and seeing our subscriber, what we call our subscriber spotlight. So you have that. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do right now is go to the upper left-hand side of the page, and you can see that we have our collections. We start with current events on our collection side, and our current events are really kind of just one of three types of resources. We have archival resources that date back to the early 20th century that we have gathered from our NBC News archive that has 6 million hours worth of content footage. Our current events, we update every day, Monday through Friday, and you can see we keep it in a file type format. Our previous years are all listed out by year, while we keep our current year listed out by month. And you can go in and see it even by week. And we get our resources up very quickly. The first debate was on Monday evening. By Tuesday morning, we already have that resource. So if you were, a high school teacher wanting to talk about that debate, it's already there, ready for you. And you know that our resources make sure they're safe and appropriate for the K-12 audience. And, some of the content probably doesn't fit as well to early elementary school. So on those particular resources, we do highlight and indicate it might not be appropriate for the younger audiences. So we do have those warnings up there. One of my favorite stories lately is how Zion Harvey, and since I have not signed in, since I'm part of it right now, I'm going to go ahead and pause this. So you can see you will be, since you have signed in, you will have full access, and that you are also in the state of Indiana where it has authenticated you to utilize the full resource. You have it where we can go ahead and this is what we call our cue card. And so you will see that if you click, hover over the closed captioning, we have where you can add English or Spanish, closed captioning, background, you can have the color, so you have all of that information available for you. So we can do that. We also have it where you can go full screen. And I'm going to go back here. We have a full transcript with each of our collections. And you can see the full transcript. What I'm actually going to do, my password's working for higher ed for a little bit, but I wanted to just kind of show you some of the functionality on the cue card that would be coming up for that. So let me grab the same one so you can just see a little bit of that here. And so as I was showing you the transcript, I'm going to take, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a backward-facing arrow, and it is able to flip the cue card over so you see the back. And here we have all of the metadata that you would need and bibliographic information that we have that. So we can go through that. We have the event date and copyright information, the clip length. As you can see here, it's 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and that is very indicative to the majority of the of our resources. Most of our resources are between 1 and 6 minutes, in length, so we do have that for you, and it makes it very, very nice to have within your time limit in school. So they're very close to have that, so you can go through there. I'm going to go ahead and actually get into our demo account so I can show you this directly on your on the K-12 site again. So I apologize for this issue I'm having. So here we are. So back again with the same cue card going back around where you can go through, again, see the back. We have our brief description. We have keywords, which are all hyperlinked. So if you click on any one of these, you're going to gather your resources accordingly. So if I'm going to go ahead and click on health, you're going to see all of these additional resources that you can use, which health is a large number of that, so you would probably want to narrow it down into something more like hand transplant or surgery if you're going to narrow it down. So this is great when you're planning your lessons, that you can have resources to help support your lesson, but students can also use it or in the research process to have that as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on citation because we do offer the citation generator. So if students are doing a research assignment, they can properly cite their work with the citation generator, and providing in the MLA, APA, or Chicago Manual of Style, they can click copy and have that right there that they can put in their assignment. So you have that right there. So you can see also we have additional tabs located at the bottom. Now, if these first two tabs, Save and Notes, are not highlighted for you, that means you have gotten where it just said Welcome Indiana, so you can do that. And so you do have to be signed in, so this is that increased functionality that I was talking about that you can have right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. And this is what makes it really nice. You can organize all of your resources, maybe by unit. I'm going to go ahead and click on New, and I'm going to say Indiana, and I'm going to click on Save and have that. It's going to save. It will turn green, and then the drawer closes automatically, and that way you know you have saved it. I'm going to click on Notes, because once you have saved a resource, then you have the ability to add notes, and so you can add information here. Now, it was nice for me because I taught multiple times my subject multiple times a day, and it's nice where I would put questions here, and then, you know, because a lot happens between first and seventh period, so I always had these questions. But even better than that is that I had NBC Learn in my classroom for 3 years. And so each year I would open it up and there are my questions. That's what I want to ask my students. And it was so nice to have that. You can have that right there. So I'm going to close that. We have the Share tab. This enables you to push it through any of your favorite services. I know some districts in Indiana use Edmodo. So if you open your Edmodo account, you can click on this and send it. And then we have copy the URL, and here you can put it on your website. You can put it in a PowerPoint. Maybe you already have a PowerPoint and that you just wanted to add this link to it. You can do so all right here at the bottom here with Share. We also provide a print. So this is going to give you a two-dimensional version of the cue card for students that need a printed copy maybe through their IEP, or if they just want a printed copy of their notes. You can see it's a two-dimensional version of our cue card where we have the name, the title, the image from the video, all of that metadata that was on the back of the cue card, and then the full transcript. And then any notes that you have added will also be printed right here at the bottom. So we have that. We also have the ability to download. I know I was talking to Mary earlier today, and we were talking about there were thunderstorms in central Indiana, you know, and sometimes the internet might go out. So this enables you to download to our NBC Learn offline player. And so you're going to be able to use the resource because it will be coming directly from your desktop as opposed to, you know, linking it on your internet. So I know I personally liked it at my former district when grades were due. It seems like the internet was always kind of shaky when our grades, all the teachers were, you know, getting the grades in. So this made it really nice. The other thing you can do is if you hover in the upper left-hand corner, you can click on the library and you can see the other resources that I have downloaded. You have the ability, once you select one, I'll just grab that one right here, you can click Embed, and then you can get this embed code. So if you want to use this inside your PowerPoint where it's a more seamless transition as opposed to linking it, as I was mentioning when we use the share feature, that it would come up and play again directly from your desktop instead of linking it to our site. So you have that. So we go right there. We also have it where you can import and export. And so, for instance, if I was on my laptop or if I was on my home computer and I found this resource, I can click on export. Once I get to the classroom, you can click on import and bring it in from your flash drive, so it is portable between it. So we have a question about K-5, and so I am going to, I will address that here very, very shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And then we also have standards. So the standards tab, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring it popped up on my other computer here. So you can see I have the New York standards. Yours would come up as Indiana. So I will scroll down. And it's going to give you the different standards that this particular video is appropriate for. And so one example, someone was asking about K-5 settings. And so you can see here which state standards that this video would be appropriate for. In particular, here you see 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. I'm going to close that. But we also have, if we go into our all collections here, we have our K-5 resources. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this right now. This resource is great for elementary teachers because, you know, we were talking earlier, some of the news topics just really aren't, you know, appropriate for the younger audience. And so this resource here in the K-5 collection has gone through an additional vetting process to make sure that these resources are safe and appropriate for the younger audiences. So you can see we can break it down into communities. And one of my favorite videos are in here. If we go into citizenship, and you can see Indiana first graders celebrate acts of kindness. This is actually was in Terre Haute, Indiana. So talking about this, one of my favorite videos. I show it all over, not just in Indiana, because it's just so fun seeing these kids just be nice to each other and writing on their Post-it notes. So showing good citizenship with that. So it's very, very good to have. And you can see here, but one thing I do want to point out, you know, showing this resource in the K-5 selection, this is a great go-to resource for you if you're looking for a resource very quickly. But I don't want you to feel limited by just these resources. So, for example, in science, we have, if you go into astronomy, you can see we have 12 videos right here. So I'm going to go out to all collection, and I am going to highlight various other areas, but for right now I'm actually going to go right down to science very quickly. And you can see in the astronomy and space, we have 400 if you look in the upper right-hand corner. And so you might find that this interview specifically with astronaut Scott Kelly would be great for your 4th graders if you're studying space, so you have that. where you can talk about that. So that is not in the K-5 setting, but it's something as maybe a fourth grade teacher you would find that would be appropriate to share with your specific students. So just know that I don't want you to feel limited, but know that you have that wonderful resource that you know it's safe and appropriate if you're looking for a resource, especially if the students are waiting for something, that you have that all ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and go back out to all collections and just highlight a few other collections. One being, I always like to stop in health and wellness because it has some resources, and as I mentioned earlier in the session, that I have been to Indiana quite frequently, and I have found, being in all those live sessions with fourth grade teachers, that our growth and development collection works really well with your science curriculum for fourth grade. But you'll also see that resources here would be supportive of anatomy in high school or biology. So it really does run the full breadth of K-12, having that right there. So we can go through that. I like to kind of just highlight some of those physical health resources for you. The other thing we can do, staying in health and wellness, is you can see we have other collections, and one being mental health. And again, this has some great stories for building self-esteem or managing stress. And here you are right here with Zion Harvey's. The great thing about our resources is that they're placed, all of the current events are placed in our current event collection, but then they're also placed throughout the collections where they are relevant. So that it's going to be relevant here in health and wellness, as well as in building self-esteem. It is such a great video. If you have an opportunity, you need to be able to watch that. But we have some resolving conflict also, so you can see some resources there. I know as a social studies teacher in high school, we were usually the class where we had to bring up information about that. You know, bullying and online safety and different things. And so I personally use some of the NBC Learn resources there in my own classroom. Going back to all collections, going down to language arts. Again, we also had, if you look down where it says Writers Speak to Kids, this full collection would have been found in our K-5 resources, but it's also here as well. So just like the videos, resources are placed, again, where they're relevant. One of my favorite collections is our Writers Speak. I know our middle school and high school teachers really enjoy this particular collection. We have 100 interviews, mostly coming from, you know, Today Show interviews of these authors talking about their books and what gets them creative, or how they use their research process, because you'll see that we have fiction and nonfiction authors listed here. Here's a children's author. So again, there's resources to support all levels in all of our collections here. One thing I do like to point out, so especially if maybe you're familiar with NBC Learn, but maybe not quite as familiar with some of the different functionality of it. One thing is we have, if you hover over our eye, it's our information icon, and you can see very briefly and very quickly, how long is the video, what is the description, when did it air, and it's from the Today Show. And so without even opening the cue cards, you have the ability to find out all of this critical information when you're putting, your lesson plans together and wanting to find a resource to help build that. Because these videos are so important. They truly build your rigor because you are able to ask questions. The journalists ask questions to create the story. I was always asking why, and it's a great way to transition your students and scaffold up to those more difficult questions. So, start with the beginning. What do you think of this story? How do you think it come back? And so if you can build that and scaffold up and go up Bloom's taxonomy and ask the more difficult questions and have them synthesize the information. So this makes it great to be able to utilize in your classroom. We also have it where you can add these videos to a playlist. So if I want, I'm just going to pick these top 4 right here, I can actually go and select in the upper right-hand corner, add to a playlist. So I can add it to the Indiana playlist I just put together, or if I want to add it to a new one, I can call it Indiana 2 and do the same thing right there. So I have them both available for me to utilize here, and I'll come back to that here in just a few minutes. So we also have the ability to sort if we want to go with event date and then go ascending. So if we want to get some resources that happened even prior to when they were actually published, so we're reflecting back to In Heart of the Sea, or was George Princeton when, you know, the Bully Pulpit was President Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt. You have all of that right there, and then going to ascending, or even, you know, an interview with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle on Sherlock Holmes, saying how, you know, Sherlock Holmes is always with him. Anyway, so it's an interesting piece on that. I'm going to go back to our published date, and you can also convert it to list view. That sometimes people don't see that change right here at the top of the page, going from thumbnail view to list view. You can scroll over to the right-hand side where you can expand, have that right there. So you can see, again, so this helps you in your planning, being able to see all of this information as you're gathering resources for your lesson. So we have that. So I will convert it back to descending and move over into another topic. Like I said, I could spend all kinds of time talking about each collection, and also know that we provide free webinars. So if I know one of you, I noticed one of you out there is a media specialist. So if you want to take this back to your school and do a little mini webinar, we can do one for 20 or 30 minutes on a specific topic or specific grade level. So we can do that, and I will I put my email in this box here in just a little bit. I'm going to go down very briefly to science. Now I mentioned, I kind of was in here a little bit ago, but I didn't really kind of let you see an opportunity to see all of the other specific topics, and that you can do a deep dive into any one of them and just really investigate right here. And you might have noticed, you know, the surfing thing where it's, you know, testing the water temperature and clarity, and having surfers use it on their surfboard to gather important data from the ocean where it's shallow, where they've had difficult times, you know, being able to collect that information. So you have that. So we have that there. Also, I'm going to go ahead and go back to all collections. And I mentioned, you know, that we have our archives, we have our current events where we update every day, Monday through Friday, but we also have original collections. And this is where we have partnered with the National Science Foundation, as well as others, as you can see here along the left-hand side. One being with Science of Innovation. We've worked not only with the National Science Foundation, but we also work with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to produce these award-winning videos. So we can have our first collection included, you know, Science of Innovation of a 3D printer, that we have that, and they also have it where we can also have the new 6 of them that we added this past year. So again, if you haven't been in NBC Learn for a little while, this is one of our collections that we have added to. So by adding this, and one thing I like to point out is now we have 3D bioprinting. So that's transpired since the original building of the 3D printer. We now are 3D bioprinting. We have our nanotechnology, Nature Strike. So some of these are our latest collections. So again, if you haven't been in for a while, just to kind of give you a quick overview of some of our new and latest resources. But you can see we have it in engaging ways. We have where Science of the Summer Olympics, but we can also use, as you can see, you know, NFL football. One of my favorites is our Pythagorean theorem. You know, those kids are going to learn the Pythagorean theorem in an engaging way by using football as an example. So when they look at that defensive player going in that line of pursuit to tackle that offensive player with the ball, they're going to know it's really the hypotenuse of the right triangle. So you have that. Anyway, we have all of that. So we go through. I'm going to go ahead and click back and get back to our original or home page here, just to continue through here. You can search by standards. So I showed you the one tab that we have, you know, on the cue card that will tell you that specific, which standards that specific video is aligned to, but you also have the ability then to click on standards. And so I'm going to go again to Indiana, and if I go with science and I select a grade, let's go with 8, and I can click on search, and all of the different resources. So this would be helpful if you are looking for the younger grades. You can do that. I'm just going to click on this one right here at the top. You're going to see that all of the different standards are available, and then you can then click on this. So this is going to be one of our original content videos. Now, I just happen to know that. Like I mentioned, we do have 19,000 plus videos. I know I've seen over 15,000 of them at this time. So I knew that this one was one of our original collection that we have. So it will bring it up in that way. Now, the other thing to do is actually search. One of my favorite things are making a difference stories. And this is part of the segment, you know, that is very popular on nightly news. And so if you click on, type in making a difference, and then you click on search, and you will see 361. So that's quite a few. But what's really nice is then you can filter by collection. So maybe you are an elementary teacher and you want to be able to, I'm going to click none, and then I'm going to click on the K-5 resources. So now you know that these resources are, you know, safe and appropriate for the elementary audience. You know, and here you have Indiana first graders celebrate their acts of kindness. So that's right here ready for you to have that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on home. And now I'm going to go into my playlist. So we've added our playlist to Indiana 2 and Indiana. So you can see along the left-hand side all of the different playlists that have been created here. And once it loads, I'm going to go ahead and click on one. I'm going to click on the Indiana one. And then as we have the Indiana 2, where I had added those additional ones. So we have, I'm going to go ahead and click on this top page. Once you click on your playlist, make sure it's highlighted. You can see that the Indiana 2 is in bold. And if you go to the top of the page to copy the URL, you can then send this playlist to your students. You can send it to a colleague. You can have it on your website. That is what I did. I would have my playlist all divided up by units, kept all of my playlists where students could and parents could access it from my website. And what's really nice about that, say, for instance, if I were to send you this link and you open it and you would see these 4 videos. Well, if I finish here and add 4 more, the next time you open the link, it would have all 8 videos. So it's the original owner, if anytime the original owner makes any kind of modification to it, it will be reflected in that link. You don't have to resend the link or anything. You have it ready to go for you. Now, the other thing is, if I were to send you this link, you would also have a choice. Maybe you want to save it as your own, and maybe you only like 3 of them. So maybe you have that. So go ahead, and you know that. You can go there. and have that resource for you as your own, and then you can build on more if you want more. So we have that. All righty, so let's go ahead and click home. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, we do can embed our resources in various LMS. So I'm going to go ahead and convert now over to Canvas because basically all of these will be very similar in that you can have that. And I'm going to actually put in my email in the box here so you can have it if you are wanting us to contact you to be able to integrate it with your specific LMS in your district or your school. We can do that. So, for instance, I'm going to go ahead and go into one of our demo courses that we have. And if I go into discussions, and this would work in any of the areas in which you would have a text box. And so I'm going to, you can see here, for example, one of the discussions already, just so you can kind of see the end result. So you can see that we have added 2 videos. Maybe we're wanting to have students compare and contrast, so you can use multiple videos here. And you can see that we have the same information on the back. You're still able to turn it over using the flip button. We do have the transcript right here. Instead of on the side, but it's right here. You still have the full transcript. So let's go ahead and actually put one together very quickly to give you an idea. And so I'm going to go ahead and click Add Discussion. And I'm going to say Indiana. And I'm going to see, you can see our peacock logo. I'm going to click on that. Just by clicking on that, that automatically takes you to the NBC Learn collection within Canvas or within Blackboard or within whichever other LMS you're using. It will look very similar to what we were just using, but it is a little bit different. So, for example, I'm actually going to go into current events. And I am going to click on that same story, but now you see we have different tabs located at the bottom. So we still have the print and download, but we're not adding it to a playlist. We're going to be embedding it. So I'm going to click Embed. And again, just like it did when I clicked on the Peacock logo, it went directly to NBC Learn. It comes directly back. So what I'm going to do is scroll to the bottom of the page and click on Save. And now you have it right here. So again, all of the information, it plays directly within Canvas. So you have that here ready to go. So, and I know we are, y'all are on mute. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please ask me in the chat window. And the same thing goes into, like I said, Blackboard. We have it in Moodle. And so you can see here in Blackboard it's very, very similar. Also, one thing I skipped over in Canvas is to actually just browse. So if you're wanting to browse in any of the learning management systems, you can do so and have that available for you right there. So you can go into any of these different things. So I'm going to go back very quickly because one thing I did not share with you is located at the very bottom, we have an accessibility tab, and then we also have the Contact Us tab. One of my favorite things is to be able to contact us So you can say, you know, you were wanting information. And this is one thing you can do. I know several of you have gone through the chat window. If you have Canvas, you can actually send us a note this way if you want to do that. I know you need the shared secret and all of that information. You can do it through here. You can also email me, or like I said, through here, or if you want to just email Mary back and she can forward it on, however best works. There is another question here about embedded in this, the videos being embedded in the discussions. Yes, it can be anywhere there's a text editor box. It doesn't have to be in discussions. It can be in assignments. It can be in a module, and it can be, you know, in an assessment for quizzes. So you can do that wherever. So you have that opportunity. I'm going through here to some additional questions, making sure that I've covered everything. But about the consumer key and shared secret, that is part of Canvas. So if you want to email me, we can get that going for you in your district. So the others, let me go back with some other questions. Another question that would be handy for all of you to know is that in Canvas, but it would also apply everywhere, is that if you are using a learning management system, the question was about Canvas that came through the chat window. You then have the ability, your students do not have to log in to NBC Learn at that time. It's already within, you're automatically authenticated to use it within the learning management system. So that's a really nice benefit to be completely integrated with these learning management systems, to have that ability. But back to our standalone on that, so you can see if you have any questions or if you have any, you know, technical problems, everything is right here through Contact Us. But we also have information up here under Toolkit, and it talks about the different learning management systems. They have that information, as well as our training and best practice information, how others are using. So the same thing I was showing you at the bottom, we actually have it listed out by topic in the content area. So we have that all right here, but if you're wanting to get set up in the various learning management systems, that information is here as well. All right, so let me see if there's any other questions. Yes, students can use NBC Learn. If they go to NBC Learn, indiana.nbclearn.com, they can access our content, and they would be able to, since they are in Indiana, they would be automatically authenticated to use all of the resources in their entirety without having an account. However, if you want your students to have an account, if you want parents to have an account, the subscription covers all of that. So if you want to talk about that on your parent night, to bring in this resource, everyone in the state of Indiana, teachers, educators, students, and parents have the ability to create their free account. And as I mentioned, the instructions are right here on this home page. So we have that. Alrighty, so that is our hour. I know all of you are probably ready to get on home and grade papers and plan and add lessons. I know the first time I heard about NBC Learn in my own district, I actually had gone to a meeting for my department chair and found out about it. It was on a Thursday evening. I went home and added resources that I used the very next day. So we have that. Also, you have my email. If you have any questions, as I mentioned, I know these videos, so if you have any questions looking for a specific one, if you're not finding it, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. So have a great school year. I know this is still the beginning of it. Continue to have a great school year. And as Mary had mentioned, make sure you're tweeting every day and feel free to tweet at NBC Learn as well, add that to it. So thank you so much for all of your time after school, and I look forward to hoping to see you all at ICE in 2 weeks. Please look for me and say, hey, I was on a webinar. I would love to meet you face-to-face. So have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you, Cindy, and thank you, everybody, for joining in. And our office will also be at ICE on Thursday and Friday, so stop by our sessions and say hey to us. Ask any questions that you might have regarding the Office of E-Learning or DOE questions. We might not be able to help you, but we would definitely be able to put you in the right direction. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Cindy, for sharing with us, and everybody have a great Wednesday evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Cindy.